Monday will mark 3 years since U.S. government contractor Alan Gross was jailed in Cuba, accused of breaking Cuban laws against importing satellite technology. With talks at an impasse, Alan Gross's wife has now sued the federal government and the contractor that hired her husband, accusing them of sending Mr. Gross on 5 covert trips to Cuba without proper training, protection, or knowledge of Cuban law. Joining me now is Alan Gross's wife, Judy. Judy, thanks so much for being with us. I know this has been I can't even imagine how difficult this has all been for you. The Cuban government says very clearly that your husband broke Cuban laws. You have now, after 3 years, filed suit against the federal government, against the contractor, and you lay out that your husband made 5 separate covert trips and was not briefed on what the laws involving importing satellite technology to Cuba are. Explain this to me.
Okay. Let me just say one word before I do that, because unfortunately I just found out today that Alan's mother's cancer is no longer under control, and he just learned that. I spoke to him. So
you spoke to him today?
Yes.
His mother is 90 years old?
She'll be 91, and he's, any way he can get the word out, he's begging, asking to please, humanitarian gesture, let him visit her. Okay.
Now, you have, up until now, not taken these steps, not laid out what was going on in Cuba that led to his arrest. Tell me why, well, first of all, what was his project? What was he doing that the Cubans say violated their laws and caused him to be arrested?
Alan was providing internet access and intranet access to the 3 small Jewish communities on the island. Nothing more, nothing less. They don't have telephones, they don't have cars, most of them. They have no way to communicate amongst each other, and this was helping them because Alan was distributing to each community a laptop so they could.
But what you say in the lawsuit is that he warned Washington that they were informants, that this was dangerous, and that they should probably suspend this program.
Andrea, that was probably after his 3rd or 4th trip. He started to feel that perhaps he was being followed. He immediately wrote in his trip report that he was beginning to feel that this wasn't safe. Please tell me what to do, send instructions. And the response back to him, unfortunately, was, if you don't want to do this project, then let us know. Find somebody else, and we'll continue on. Nothing about, oh, we'll help you, or nothing about do this so you're secure, or do that. It was basically, we want to continue to keep this contract and make a profit.
And so they, according to your lawsuit, the State Department did not give him the right protection, did not give him legal advice, did not tell him what Cuban laws applied to this technology, and did not properly protect him from what then happened, which was he was arrested, convicted, and sent to jail.
Alan has worked in over 50 countries. He's pretty savvy about where he should go and where he shouldn't. He has turned down contracts in places that he thought was too dangerous. And he had none of those concerns about this.
Let me share with you also a letter that the Cuban intersection here has sent. The head of the intersection here, their top diplomat in Washington, to senators who protested about your husband's imprisonment. And in part it says, to demand from and hope for the Cuban government to take the unilateral decision of releasing Mr. Gross without giving any consideration whatsoever to the legitimate concerns of our country is not a realistic approach. Do you think that the U.S. should now consider some sort of trade? There are 5 Americans, 5 Cubans rather, in American prisons. One was then released on humanitarian grounds. But there are Cubans in American prisons who were convicted on various charges. Should they now be, considered in some kind of an exchange for your husband?
You know, I'm not an expert in the Cuban 5, and Alan doesn't like to be compared because he's not a spy. But I will emphasize that it's, especially now that the elections are over, it is time for President Obama and the White House to get Alan home, no matter how they have to do it, no matter who they have to do it with. It could take several, not to give up. They have to find the right people to get together and negotiate. What they negotiate, it's fine with me. They just need to bring Alan home, and we're really asking strongly that President Obama get himself involved in this to get him home.
Judy Gross, thank you very much.
You're welcome.